Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm the DAC Secretary for the Diocese of Leeds. The DAC Secretary and the staff who support me are responsible for helping parishes with all matters relating to church buildings. I'm here to give you some top tips about AV installations and if you are thinking about installing equipment to stream services from your church. My first tip is to sit back and think about what you have and what you need. There could be a temptation to jump straight for an all singing, all dancing installation which you've seen in the church down the road from you, but that might not actually be appropriate for you. It might be expensive and you might not need it. So this is a really useful place to start. If you've ever submitted a faculty, you'll be familiar with a statement of needs, and this is basically that exercise. You may not need a faculty for a simple installation, but it's a good place to start. So in that exercise and your statement of needs, think about how you use the building and who uses the building. What type of services do you have? Are they quite traditional in style or are they more contemporary? And during a service, how do the people leading the service move about the building? What kind of congregation do you have? Are they younger or are they older? How many of them? Are there families with children? It's really important to consider people that use your church because they'll be an asset for you in streaming. Do you have someone in your congregation who's really tech savvy, or are you going to need to keep things simple for people that aren't as comfortable with technology? Another thing that's important to think about and assess is if you've been doing streaming from home during the lockdown, have people engaged with those services? Do you think there's going to be an appetite for people to keep logging in from home, or are people going to be more keen to come back into the service? What kind of breakdown of the congregation is there that will engage online and will be more wanting to engage physically? All this is really important in thinking about how your AV system will work and how your setup will work. Once you've thought about what you need and what you have, you might realize that you're not actually sure what you want in the long term, and that's okay. And you could do a temporary installation. This has several advantages to it. One of them is that it gives you time to experiment and do trial and error. Something that might seem like it will work when you have an empty building might not work when you start getting people back into the building. Whoever's leading your service might try and move around the altar and go out of shot. So this is a good opportunity to think about various options you could have. The other important advantage is you don't need a faculty for this. Under List A, you can just bring in freestanding equipment without any permission or paperwork. Once you've decided that you do need a permanent installation and want to make that next step, perhaps after a period of experimentation, then you need to think about your building and what its restrictions are and what its opportunities are. First question is your building listed, heritage listed? If it is, you will require a faculty. If it isn't, you might be able to do some installation under List B with permission from your archdeacon. So it's the first important question to consider. Once you've established that, the next thing to do is look around your building. Think about how you will install cameras. Can you fix it to a bit of the building that's not important historic fabric? Can you avoid interrupting views to important parts of the building? Can you take advantage of important parts of the building? Perhaps setting cameras up so that they're angled towards features of special historic interest. This could be an opportunity to enhance and work with your building. Practically speaking, the layout of the building is important. Do you have columns in the way? Do you have open views? All those kind of things are really important in establishing what goes where. When you're thinking about the installation and about streaming services, it can be an opportunity to go beyond the immediate need. So you might know that you need a camera in order to stream services, but don't stop there. Like while you're thinking about your audio-visual system, think about what you have and if there's other ways you could enhance it while you're at it. So for example, you might have a sound system that's been there for a long time and isn't actually functioning so well anymore. Maybe it's not designed to incorporate music and spoken word. So it's important to go beyond the immediate and think about that, because if you're streaming services, you don't want rubbish sound system. That's not going to attract people to it. You also might want to think about things like lighting, and to make sure that you're capturing the best of the building. Lots of modern cameras work well in low light levels, but this is an opportunity as well. And things like improvements to sound systems and lighting can be done under LISP. There'll be a bit more cost, but it could be worthwhile at least thinking about those. My final tip is to talk to the DAC. You can do this at any stage. You might want to go through all the steps I've talked about first, or you might want to come straight to the DAC if you're not comfortable in thinking about all of these things. We're here to help. It will be a good plan to talk to us earlier rather than later as well, because you can understand what kind of permission you will need, and we can point you in the direction of experts and good contractors. The DAC staff have our own knowledge, but we are also supported by some excellent audio-visual advisors. We now have 3 of them to cover our large diocese, and they are really keen and willing to help support parishes who are exploring streaming from their churches and helping them to get it right.